How far can you make it with a broken heart? What are the best relationship types? What is the social media Gen Z experiment? Where is the future of AI leading us to? And what is algorithmic social engineering? These are some things we're going to talk about today in the Love and Success Are Married podcast. In this podcast, we talk about all things love, so how to get a relationship, what's the actual point or purpose of having a relationship, and how to actually nurture and cultivate that relationship into making it the best it could be, whether it's lovers, friends, family, whatever it is. Then we talk about all things success, so the different niches, industries, and especially the way innovation and technology is changing the way we interact in the marketplace. And then finally, we talk about the most important thing, the thing that bridges love and success all together, which is the culture. And what is the culture? The culture is how we interact with each other, whether that's based on status, your relationship, things like that, your skill level, things like that. So the culture can be highly nuanced depending on which variable you're trying to look at. So these are the things we talk about in this podcast. So let's just jump right into the topics. So I was debating between I was thinking about we should just talk about the best relationship types, but then I thought maybe we should talk about how far can you make it in life with a broken heart? Because I was thinking about this topic. So let's just talk about it. When you have a broken heart, your heart gets split into many pieces, right? It would have been better if I drew this out. Maybe I'll start drawing in the future videos of the podcast, so I can actually illustrate what I'm trying to say. It gives you a better visual understanding. But imagine this, imagine in your head, when your heart breaks, it breaks into say 6 different pieces. And these are the 6 different parts of you. So there's a part of you that wants to be super isolated and nihilistic and give up on life. There's a part of you that wants to flex really hard and go all out and replace the person and XYZ. It's very complicated, the thought process. You basically let your shadow take over you and you're acting out on all the things you think you actually desire from a relationship without actually having the soul loyalty, the soul tie, the soul just the bond. You lack the bond, but you get everything without the actual bond, without actually it being anything long term. And then there's a part of you that just wants to focus on success, X, Y, and Z. But let's get to the point. The problem with living with a broken heart and why you can't get far when you have a broken heart in life is because when you have a broken heart, these pieces of you create islands, and these islands turn into worlds. And this is how your life's going to look like, depending on what you nurture. If you want to replace them by chasing your desires, things that aren't really deep, that's not really long-term, that's not really long-lasting, it's not going to lead to anything. The same way, if you pour your whole life into the material world, into success, is not going to lead to anything. Because think about it. You can't ignore the culture. The only reason you want success is because you know other people value it, other people are going to treat you differently, because you know, oh, someone I looked up to said this was important, so I'm going to pursue this path. You didn't just randomly one day say, hey, I'm going to do this because it's going to make me super successful, make me high status. Just for what? You're going to do it just for yourself? Yeah, eventually when you gain self-knowledge, but at the end of the day, we are souls interacting with other souls. We are humans interacting with other humans. It took 2 people to bring you onto this planet. It took a family, a community, a school you went to, a workplace you went to raise you. It took all these different media, influencers, companies, so many things raised you. You did not just show up here alone. So it's very foolish thinking to think, oh, I just want success just because of me. You have to be honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? So you can't make it far with a broken heart, because if you let one of these pieces be focused on for too long, you build a fragmented life. Now, that's not really you. It's a piece of you that was protecting you for so long from building bridges to the other pieces that were broken and lost. Do you see what I'm saying? There's pieces of you. You see how we only identified 3 islands? I said there's 6. Can you think of what the other 3 are? I'm not going to say them here. I wrote a book. You can read it. It's not like, but this is like what it is. If you ignore certain parts of yourself, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to build an empty life, a life that's not fulfilling. And you're going to make decisions that are representative of who you actually are. And where do you think that's going to lead you to avoid? To making decisions that aren't going to lead you to being around the people that you need to be around. Because there are people that you need to be around. And you need to do everything in your power to make sure you're connected. You can't be sitting around thinking, damn, like it's over. Like now I'm just gonna be like this. I'm gonna be stubborn. I'm just gonna make it work with what I got. Like, no, you have to take the long path. You have to actually work hard. Like you have to go to the ends of yourself. Because the fact that you poured into something and it turned out that you're pouring into something, like think about it like this. When love falls apart, you're pouring into something. You think it's a cup, right? You think it's a cup. But when it's like, it's over, your heart's broken, you think, oh shit, like the cup just broke. Like it's, the glass is all over you. But that's not true. It's just that it was so much bigger what you were pouring into. It was so much deeper what you were pouring into. You just couldn't see that. And it was leading you to something actually better, a better type of path. And that is like the point of seeing like, oh, when you say your heart's broken in pieces, you need to have the perspective to see that is leading you to something bigger. Because when you give a certain energy and another person can't receive that energy, if you actually believe that your love was pure and you weren't like gaslighting, love bombing, manipulating, and you had pure intentions and your whole like ideal and intention was to be like, yeah, we're merging souls, we're creating something between each other, whether it's lovers, friendship, a family, whatever, like you're building a business with someone, whatever type of love this exists in, a team. If it was pure, then best believe you're going to get something in return. It's waiting for you somewhere else. It could be months, years, weeks away. You don't know how long it's going to take, but there's something waiting for you. But the thing is, you need to transform. You need to change as a person in order to receive that. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're not where you need to be. Do you understand? So when your heart breaks, it's broken in pieces because it's saying, hey, you need to discover this island, this island, this island, bridge it all together to understand why you can't just live on one, because you need the resources from this area and this area. You need to want to be successful. You need to want to be with people and be social. You need to understand why. Like these are just realizations you need to come to. You can't just choose like, oh, I'm going to reject my other half now. Or, oh, I'm just going to get to the money. Or, oh, money doesn't matter. They only value me because of the money. Like all of these are just bad beliefs to have. It's not balanced. It's not going to lead you to your highest potential. It's not going to lead you to your highest self-image. So you can't get far in life with a broken heart. This was just something on my mind because you see so much about people speaking to how broken they feel. And even if they don't say it directly, because no one ever says it directly, because everyone has a sense of, self-respect. No one wants to just be vulnerable in a world that, maybe doesn't respect that. But it's like, you just wonder, like, how far, what is the actual point? Why are they led down this path? It surely just can't be a tragedy. And I don't believe in any sense that it's a tragedy. I believe that it's just a path. Just like how school, work, a business is a path, love is the same thing. It's just a path. You just need to see it like that. Like, yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's just what it is, The decision is not yours to make. I mean, it depends, right? Everyone's relationship is different. You can't just blanket, put everyone in the same umbrella or category. But anyways, moving on to the next topic. So let's see, how much time was that? Okay. So we're going to talk about one more topic in the love category, and then we're going to move on. Because I want to actually fit this in this video. I want to talk about two things. I don't want to just push it to next video, because last time I had so many topics ready and we only talked about half of them. So that was pretty interesting, because I guess from a few sentences, I give a lot of depth. So whatever, it is what it is. So this is an interesting topic. Moving off that, I just felt like I had to say that because I felt like people need to hear that right now. That type of message, I feel like it needs to be heard. A lot of people are silently living through their lives and wondering, why is it so heavy? Why is the pain so deep? So I feel like I needed to say that. Anyways, so what are the best relationship types? Is it better to be in love with a partner or to have a friendship group? So this is going to be a highly controversial topic. So what I'm thinking is that friends are better than a partner if they support you, because you work on building each other up without the expectation of receiving from each other in any other way other than cooperation. I believe the issue with love relationships too early in a person's life development is that there are clear expectations for what the other person wants to receive when they have not properly built out their foundation. There's a caveat to this though. The power of love is very strong. It can get you very far. But the issue is not necessarily with the love, not with two people getting together. It's the way the culture is set up right now, the way money can be made right now. It makes love and things that normally would just be treated as sacred is very easily exploitable, if you can understand what I'm trying to say. There's a big culture of being unfaithful, disloyal, because it's very profitable. You see what I'm saying? It's profitable to be disingenuous. So moving on. So there's clear expectations for what each person wants to receive. And the issue with this is that it makes it more of an exchange that's transactional, that's give and take, and less of a cooperation and unity type of thing. But there is an issue with friendships as well. They're not perfect, because what's the issue with friendships? What makes love so desirable in the first place? You know what the issue with friendships is? The issue with friendships is you externalize your desires. When you've been friends with someone for so long, you laugh, you have jokes, everything's good, you hang out, you do things together, you have fun. But then eventually you want something deeper, you want something more. And if you're not building a business, if you're not searching for money, which actually entails a lot of responsibility, you're gonna have to fight with each other. You're gonna have to analyze the market. You're gonna have differences of opinions. You obviously have difference of skill sets. Just because you're friends doesn't mean you're good at the same things. And this is gonna create issues. And then it's the distribution of the money, all these types of things. Where are we focusing on? If we fail, if we succeed, what's that gonna do to the relationship? So people will easily externalize their desires because it's really hard to take a relationship that's a friendship far, because it's so much easier to just get in love because you don't really need to do much more work. You know what I mean? As long as you have some sort of way of making money, you could be in a relationship technically. But to be in a friendship that's going to be more, and it's actually going to build you as a person, and it's not just something for you to rot in or stagnate in, you just do nothing with each other. You actually grow in knowledge, financial, spiritual, physical. You grow in every way. That's very demanding. And there's not really there is a lot of friends are very sweet to each other. They're very sympathetic. They're very understanding. They're going to push you forward. In love, it's a bit different. There's a clear expectation. There's a standard. There's a bar. You know what I mean? Because there's other couples, because there's a group chat, you know what I mean? Like when you're in a relationship, you're being watched by the council, you know what I'm saying? There's about like, you know what I mean? You don't know how many people are actually judging this relationship on a scale of 1 to 10, you know what I mean? And you don't know if those people are single or in a relationship, because that will highly bias the decision. So anyways, so honestly, you need to think about when you're in your life, do you want a friendship group or do you want a love relationship? The power of love is very strong, because the good thing about love is that if you love each other, you're not going to leave each other. But the second there's an issue with your self-esteem, with the finances, with your health, with like your mindset, with how you treat each other, like your other half, because you're not dealing with your same gender now, you're dealing with your other half, is going to be a big problem. And the way like social media works and like how people speak to each other now, like people view people as very easy to cut off. They have like a very short patience. They have no respect for the spiritual or for the soul at all. People just treat people like, yeah, just switch them out. Just trade them out. Like, I won't stand for this. There's no sense of commitment. There's no sense of responsibility to commitment. So it makes it very risky to be in a love relationship in this sense. But if you can account for this and if you can figure out a way to prevent this from happening, then it's all good. Same thing with a friendship. It's like, how are you gonna ensure that growth happens and that it's not stagnation, laziness, and jealousy, and hate, and insecurity, and people externalizing their desires? Now all of a sudden they want pleasure. All of a sudden they want a relationship. All of a sudden they want to switch their path. All of a sudden they never liked you that much. They were there just there because it was the only place they could be. So the second they found something different, unique, new, they left. That's why love is a bit more reliable, because if you're in a relationship, I'm just going to be honest, it's more likely it's going to work out. A friendship, it's like you don't have that many ties to each other. The bigger the group, the better, because it creates more of like a community setting. No one wants to get ousted from an 8-person group, from a 12-person group. You know what I mean? But if it's just 3 of you, 4 of you, like it's easy for it to be broken up. Do you know what I'm saying? But in the same sense, when it's just 3 or 4 of you, this is the ironic thing, because you think because there's less people, oh, it should be easier. Everyone hears my message, what I'm saying. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they care or they believe in it or that it's going to work out, because the thing is, you're pouring more energy into something, but it doesn't mean there's a higher chance of it sticking. There's a higher chance of people staying together, because that's not how you can like judge whether a friendship's going to last. Is not a good indicator just by the amount of people. But like when there's more people, it's just like more likely, like no one wants to get kicked out of like the 8-person, 10-person team. It's just natural. It's just like the bigger the group is, the more easier it is to exist within it. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, you just have to think what relationship type you prefer. I think both can work at the same time, and it works very well. But at the end of the day, you kind of have to prioritize, because loving a partner leads to a family. Loving a friendship will lead to growth, business, a network, and eventually, once you reach a certain point, once you reach your goal, you're going to either make a bigger goal and your ambitions are going to get higher. But it's like, how do you account for the desire of like a partner, your other half? And how can you account that the other people in that group aren't going to sometime down the line switch what they want? Do you get what I'm saying? So these are the things you need to think about like when you're setting up your life. Because people think like friends are just like, oh yeah, we're just hanging out, like, you know, like it's fine. Or like in the same sense, like, yeah, you want to network and you want to move up in life, but you want something deep. You want something to hold on to. It's a soulless, like Western way of thinking of just network, make your way up because you gotta earn your survival. But you need to have a community. You need to have people around you. You need to have people in reach. If you don't have anyone in reach, it kind of makes everything feel like it's all for nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't live your life like that. You need people around you. I mean, obviously, if what you're building is special, you're not going to care because what you're building is special. But in the same sense, how can you know what you're building is true if you're not interacting with other people? Do you get what I'm saying? It's like people and success, they go together. You can't separate the two. Like success exists in interactions. Okay, so that's it for the love section of the podcast. That was pretty long, but I wanted to go over 2 topics today instead of 1. Oh, actually, we didn't even get over all the topics. I still had 2 more things, but whatever. Next time we'll go over it. There's no time. So we'll move on to the next topic. So we're going to be talking about business, innovation, society, infrastructure segment of the podcast. So I want to start with a society topic. So this is a very interesting thought experiment we're going to do. So we're going to talk about the education system. It's not boring. You need to think about this. Education should be based on classroom group success because it creates a better society because there's more collaboration and less antisocial behavior. And first, I already know there's a caveat to this. The big caveat is genius and achievement and new ideas and creative ideas come from being alone, introspection, and being like sort of separate and having your space. It doesn't come from being like joined and merged in a big group because that creates like hive mind. But we're going to keep going. I'm going to answer that later. Creates education based on classroom group success, creates better society, more collaboration, less antisocial behavior, more collectivism, and more care for others, and it improves the social skills of everyone involved. So let's do an example of this system. Let's say everyone in the class has to get a 90. So yeah, we're still going to do it on grades. Maybe we need to do it on projects. Maybe we need to do it on like real world scenarios. That's why like projects would be much better. Maybe we need to do more experimentation, creativity, but we can worry about all that later. Right now, I just want to focus on one core point. We're not trying to dissect the whole education system right now, just this one core point of switching it from individual to group. So an example would be if everyone in the class has to get a 90, everyone gets 3 tries. If someone can't get the mark or make contributions to help the class get that mark, then they move down a class. Each school has a hierarchy for each grade based on competence system of grades. So grades, contribution, and extracurricular projects. So these would be like the 3 ways that students are judged on their competence level, on their intelligence. This would switch school from being just something about like, how well can I understand everything to how well can your class understand everything? And it makes the student 100 times better. The first country to integrate this system will 100% see a great improvement in their population's like success. But there is like some caveats to this, so let's not make any too big promises here. Like, let's discuss it. The big problem is most intelligence comes from people being alone, like having ideas, right? But I would argue that it comes from conversations. So you can be very intelligent in your own time, but it's like having a conversation from someone about a completely random topic will spark something in your mind from all the studying, all the mastery in your field that you've been doing to make you think of a new idea to help improve and build on what you're already doing. And think about what a group setting would do. It's not like we wouldn't have individual time. It's just that we would have both. So I think school days would have to be structured differently. I think there would definitely have to be a little bit longer, like maybe an hour or 2 longer, maybe just an hour. And they'd have to be set up differently because students would obviously need time individually. You can't read a book together, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not optimal. But this would ensure that once everyone's done the individual work, now it's like your job to sort of make sure everyone else understands, and then you do projects together. So now you apply the knowledge that you have to say, okay, let's look at this business. How can they improve their business? Let's look at the healthcare. Like, how can we improve healthcare? How can we improve its efficiency? Maybe we don't have to look at it at a technical standpoint of looking at the actual medicine, because let's say we leave that to experts at this point. But maybe we can help improve the efficiency of the hospital. Like, how would we go about doing that? That could be a potential project. Like, what is the issue? Like, why is everything so slow? These are like things like students could do to improve their intelligence, fixing actual problems in the world instead of just doing everything in a void and just always learning theory, because that's not helping anybody. Because the reason why kids don't take education seriously is because outside of grades is one thing. It's like a status symbol. And then it leads to you getting accepted into a university. And then when you get in the university, then you try to get an internship, and then you get the job. So grades is like a promise of a job. That's all it is. But if you actually like encourage learning by saying, hey, if we can try to fix this problem in our class today, then everyone they get this grade. Do you get what I'm saying? It's either you fix the problem or you didn't. Or maybe there's a metric of success. How well did you fix the problem? If kids learned that way in a group setting, it would be much more productive, because now you have a bunch of kids coming together to analyze situations. The way it's set up right now is it's super individual, and everyone's doing everything by themselves. It's not going to lead to anyone getting better, because it relies on antisocial behavior, and it relies on competition. It relies on jealousy. It relies on you making sure the other person does worse than you. Because at the end of the day, the classroom is temporary. We just got to keep moving up the hierarchy. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you see how like it's a toxic mindset? Whereas instead, you should be trying to get into the best class. Do you get what I'm saying? So say in each grade, there's like 200 kids, and say each class has 30 kids. So there'd be like, what is that? 6, 7 classes. Let's say there's 7 classes. Everyone's goal would be to get into the top class. That would be everyone's goal. Obviously, just because there's 7 classes, it doesn't mean there's going to be a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because there's obviously not that big of a gap in intelligence. Maybe there is, but it's going to be a bit closer, hopefully, if the school's teachers are actually good and doing their job properly. And it would lead to a better society in every way, because now kids would be more socialized. They know how to interact with each other. They know how to work together. Now they trust each other more. They see people as people. They humanize people. They have a more problem-solving mindset. The cities become better. As they get older, they fix more problems. But the issue is that there's not that much money in providing better education, because, yeah, we're not going to go into that topic, but a lot of money is made on inefficiency. Let's just say that. Like, it's just how business works. But anyways, I think education should be a group setting. I think the great thing with social media is the way we speak about topics together. It creates a group setting, and it makes people want to learn more. And this is like a good thing. The bad thing is it lacks depth, because talking for like 1, 2, 3 minutes, people usually lie. People usually say fake things. People usually are overly performative, overly dramatic. They're extrapolating points that if you actually build out the idea for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit into a system of thinking. So it's literally just wrong. But it works for like 2, 3 minutes. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, social media is good in connecting, but it's bad in giving depth, and it's bad in giving real answers. And I think that's pretty objective, because everything makes sense for the first 30 seconds. Every hook makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, it just does. When have you scrolled by a social media video and just been like, oh, that hook doesn't make sense? you're just gonna see like, oh yeah, it makes sense, but like, does it fit into your life philosophy? The situation you're going in right now, does it reflect that? Does it properly diagnose your life story? Do you feel like that relates exactly to what you went through? Or are you just like feeling like, oh yeah, I could kind of relate to this and like it is what it is? Like, it's probably more on that lines of thinking. It's probably more not relating to you, but you're just like trying to entertain yourself or distract yourself. I think social media creates a big alignment issue in people's life. And I think that's like pretty objective to say. Because recommended videos doesn't mean it's an aligned video, if you understand what I'm saying. That's why I wrote the book Love and Success Are Married, because it takes you through the 9 stages that you need to go through to get love and success in this modern era of technology and Gen Z and the way the culture has changed. And it shows you, it's your choice. If you want to go through the next stage, you have to keep reading. If that's as far as you got, that's as far as you got. You're not going to get the information. You're not going to get the knowledge. You're not going to know how to apply it. But if it doesn't relate to you, you wouldn't even read it in the first place. If you're identifying with the pages so much, obviously you're going to read it because you're like, oh, this is my life. Let me see. What should I do? That's kind of how the book feels when you read it. That's how I intended it to be read. I didn't write this to be like a 200-page self-help book and I picked a buzzword and a keyword and been like, yeah, just read it like it's about love, like all the types of love. Like, I didn't do that. I actually created something that could be applied to your life in so many more ways. It's so like complex and nuanced that it can relate to like your whole life. And that's why it's so powerful. And that's why I recommend you reading it. Like, it really is the best way you could spend your time. Like, there's probably nothing you could do to increase the depth and like the quality of life and the chances that you're going to be a fulfilled person by the end of your life. Because honestly, you need to plan for the end of your life. Because if you're not doing that, like if you're not thinking about destiny or where you want to end up in life, then you're leaving it up to chance. And chance doesn't favor the unintentional. So I really recommend you reading Love and Success Are Married. You can find the book in the description of this video. I really recommend you doing it. I think it will be a great value add to your life. Okay, now I want to talk about a business topic. So we're going to talk about the future of AI. So I want to talk a bit about AI because there's like a big trend right now. There was a big trend of like AI being very popular. There's some clear issues with AI and there's some clear value in AI. So I want to talk about it. So recently AI, if you don't know, if you didn't watch the last video, AI took a big dip in the stock market. Recently, the founder of OpenAI, one of the biggest AI companies, might not be the biggest AI company with the recent shuffle in the stock changes and everything. I know Oracle just invested, but people are having a lot of opinions on that. But he recently said that AI is in a bubble. And I think it's very interesting. I don't want to speak too much on names or anything, but I think it's very interesting. Actually, I don't want to speak on names. We're just going to leave that alone, like what I was thinking. Might be too not for this platform, you know what I'm saying? But I think let's just start with a basic idea. Let's start with AI is misnamed. AI does not have a brain. It is an LLM that pulls information from a large database to get an answer. There's a large language model. And I already know the tech people are going to be like fuming, like, oh, you don't understand what AI is. Like, I'm pretty sure I have a good understanding of what it is. AI answers questions based off how people have answered those same questions in the past. So if AI sees, oh, there's a textbook with these sort of answers. So if you ask a question, I'm going to reply back to you in the same way. Oh, there was like a Reddit forum and it answered in this way. I'm going to answer in the same way. Oh, there was a YouTube video. You get what I'm saying? Because it depends entirely on what data it's trained off of. It does not have a reasoning or logical ability. So I want you to think about something. When I ask you, how far can you make it in life with a broken heart? How would you answer that question? You'd have to use your reason, your logic, your intuition, your life experience. You have to try to figure out what's the situation of society, where are you currently in life, what's your financial, health, physical, mental situation right now. That's how you would answer the question. AI doesn't do any of that. It answers the question entirely based off a database of previous answers. It doesn't think. So there you go. Also, computation does not have the consciousness of biological intelligence. So it does not tap into, it doesn't have dreams. It doesn't tap into intuition. It doesn't tap into feelings. Because feelings are ultimately what leads to thought. Because before anyone even was really thinking, they were feeling. It's just like the system of how a human works. And AI doesn't have any of this. Like, it just doesn't. So in the future, comprehension level and IQ will be so low in future societies that people will be pasting their emails into AI just to understand them. And this will create an issue of privacy and data breaches. There will be so much value in being able to breach data centers to collect data and information, because it's guaranteed that people will be using this technology. So we already know cognitive skills are going to atrophy. Cognition is going to go down. People's ability to think and have logic and know how to do small things, it's going to go away. People's connection to language and communicating and expression is going to go away if this technology is largely integrated in the wrong way, because there's a chance it's used for the right way. So we're going to talk about what are the good things about AI. The good things about AI is the fact that it automates things. It's used for speed. It can quickly take a bunch of data and categorize it and give it understanding, give it meaning. It can like list out a bunch of data to you, and then you can read it and be like, okay, this is what this means, and I understand it in this way very quickly. But if you had to do that by yourself, for example, let's say we used AI to like analyze an essay. AI is going to be able to analyze the essay faster than you, just because if the essay is like 10 pages long and you put it in AI and it creates like a 1-page summary, that speed is valuable. Do you know what I mean? What is the accuracy? Well, we don't really know. But that's the value in it. The value is not in creativity. It's not really in innovation. It's just in speed and automation. That's like the clear benefit right now. And that's like a large selling point for a lot of companies right now that are like AI companies. It's speed and automation. Give you an answer quick. You don't have to use your brain. We'll give you one. We'll give you an answer. And it's going to work out for you. That's like the promise right now of these AI companies. It's used better in other places where it's integrated more into infrastructure. Using it in consumer technology is not always the best idea to integrate technology like right away. But we're seeing, right, like it's an experiment of like the Western world, seeing how this works out. So moving on, AI is a probability categorization machine, meaning there's two different concepts. So there's categorization and there's probability. So categorization is the organization of different topics. This is especially helpful in answering questions based on keyword probability. So imagine you asked a question and you said, like, I don't know, what's a good question? Like, how to get love. So now it's going to categorize this. Okay, this is about people, relationships, love, like people sticking together, loyalty, whatever, all these topics, right? And now it's going to answer based off probability. So it's going to pick the most likely result. But it isn't doing this off logic, reason, or memory. It's just scanning data and searching for keywords. So it's an over-glorified search engine. So they shouldn't have called it artificial intelligence. They should have called it an advanced search engine, because that's essentially what it is. Its value is in speed and automation, not in intelligence or quality. Their goal right now is automation on a large level, and right now it's failing to do that in anything other than the performative nature of consumer marketing, because they're saying, oh, AI is so smart, it's so crazy, the value, but you won't know until you try the product, right? Obviously. And The product is just like, it's not providing people enough value for them to spend enough money on it. And that's just what it is. So the technology still needs to improve as it stands. How it's going to get integrated into society, I think it's just important. Like, we're going to talk about it more as the podcast and the episodes go on. But I just want to create like a basic description right now. Like, what is AI? AI, it's an LLM. It's based off categorization, probability. It doesn't use reasoning. It doesn't really think. They're still trying to figure that out. They need much more computation power to do it. It's going to take a lot of money, energy, investment, and it's bottlenecked really hard right now. Bottlenecked means there's a lot of things in the way stopping it. That's why the marketing for it is so heavy. And that's why it's such a popular topic in like the business world. So anyways, I thought it would just be good to talk about this because in my comment sections, like while this platform grows, I don't want to see people talking about AI in the wrong way. So I just wanted to leave that there as like a baseline understanding so we can have some common ground. So we can understand that AI is not like some separate entity or something. It's not like some separate species or race. I know they're trying to do it with quantum computing and everything, but it's really based off data. It doesn't have its own will. Do you get what I'm saying? It doesn't have its own destiny. It's a control technology based off the data that it's running off of and like the algorithms that are put in to see how you're gonna parse through that data and choose what to answer, how to act. So moving on to the final topic of our podcast, the most important topic of our podcast, the culture, the psychoanalysis, the consumer preferences section of our podcast. So I wanted to talk about algorithmic social engineering and the social media Gen Z experiment. So I know we just talked a lot about business and AI and everything, but I want to talk about the social media Gen Z experiment. What I'm starting to think is that Gen Z is very soon going to leave social media and start cashing in on their observational skills. So what do I mean by this? Gen Z has basically lived their entire life in a worse socioeconomic position. They have less power, status, skills, jobs, relationships, fulfillment, joy than like every other generation. But now it's weird because now Gen Z is like joyful and fulfilled and content with less. Makes no sense, you would think. But it's like they've just become more spiritual. They've become more internal because their whole life is about going on social media. They built very good observational skills and analytical ability just from watching. But the issue is their observational skills and analytical ability, you can't analyze what you haven't lived. If you watch a video about business, it's not going to mean anything to you if you don't know anything about business. Like if you watch a video about anything and you don't have any sort of real life like scenario, you don't have any sort of experience in reality, it's not going to mean anything to you. So Gen Z needs to get out of the social media experiment and start trying to actually find their place in the real world and actually cashing in on their observational skills. Because Gen Z has great value in having an opinion, in having a perspective, in not fitting in. But the issue is they have this opinion, but where is it being embodied? Where is it showing up? What are they creating? What are they building? Do you see what I'm saying? It can't just all be exploitation or profit. Eventually, we're going to need to build something. Eventually, this system is going to fall apart as it stands. Eventually, it's not going to be preying on the weak. It's going to actually be about pushing people forward and stop having this mindset of dog eat dog, because it's not really a good mindset to have. So right now, there's a lot of algorithmic social engineering. The way trends are chosen and everything, the way things go viral, it's like you're not living an aligned life. It's a topic I brought up earlier in the podcast. The big issue right now with social media is it's all based off of recommended videos. It's not based off aligned content. You need to focus on what you need to do today, on what you need to get done, on what your mission is in life, on who you are as a person. Eventually, you need to get out of other people's heads that you don't even know and see what their opinion is on a life that you never lived. They're a person that you don't have those skills, those talents, their life story to share their same opinions. But you're taking in their opinions as if you're their friend. It's okay. It's good for context, knowledge. It keeps us more connected. It keeps us more aware. We feel like we're making better decisions. We feel like, oh yeah, I don't need to live that lifestyle. This person showed me this is what it is. Oh yeah, I should do this instead of that because I saw this person say something about this career or something like that. Oh yeah, I should switch my business model to this because it's better in these types of ways. Oh, I should treat my community like this because it makes a better for society. X, Y, and Z. It's good for like getting those sort of insights, but the best insights come from living your own life and being aligned with your mission on how you're going to grow and develop in your life. And the big problem with social media right now is that you're a victim to the algorithmic social engineering. You're not really who you are actually supposed to be because you're living life through a screen. You can't live life through your eyes. You have to live life through your body, through your feeling. You have to put yourself through it. You have to take that test. You have to get that job. You have to build that business. You have to get your health right. You have to get financially right. You have to get spiritually right. You have to get mentally right. If you're not doing these things, what are you doing? Scrolling, trying to fit an empty place within yourself isn't going to lead to anything. It's not going to do anything for you. There is no amount of feelings, thoughts, ideas you're going to find in the phone that you can't find from taking a step today in your own life. It's one thing you need to do that's going to make you feel better. It's one thing you need to do that's going to lead you to your next step. And people that are already successful, they already know what I'm talking about. They know what I'm saying. They know exactly what I'm talking about. Because this is why success is rare. Because it's easier to be distracted. It's easier to be in the mix. It's easier to be like, oh, I want to see what this person's doing, what that person's doing. You're overstimulated. It's not going to lead you to a good life. You need to cut that overstimulation out. Like, I'm trying to get my words out in a way that you understand what I'm saying. And it really comes down to overstimulation. You're not comfortable with being alone. You're not comfortable with being alone. You're not comfortable with sitting in your field of work and just focusing. Like, what are you good at? What is your contribution? What is your contribution to society? What is your responsibility to ensuring your survival, your family's survival, your partner's survival? How are you helping your friends grow? What's your responsibility to the relationships that you have? Like, these are things you need to be thinking about. You don't need to be thinking about, oh, I should scroll to the next video. I should see what they're saying. Oh, I should go and doom scroll on their page. Oh, I should just watch every single... Like, you're externalizing what actually needs to be done. Yeah, everyone's doing something, but you need to be doing something too. You don't need to just be sitting around feeling horrible about yourself, because living through your eyes is not living a real life. You need to understand this. You live through your sensation. Like, what is the point of having a body if all you're going to do is scroll all day? You know what I'm saying? Because, bro, the screen time realistically for people is like way too many hours. So it's like, what are you even getting from the phone? You feel connected, but that's because like the society and the lifestyle that you've set up has disconnected you. The society, the way it is probably disconnected you. Some things are out of your power, some things are in your power. Your duty is to try to live a real life. Staying on socials all day, yeah, you're connected, you know what's going on. But how much of that matters? How much of it's going to be relevant 6 months from now? How much is going to lead to you completing your life? Is it going to lead to you completing your life, to making sure you feel fulfilled at the end? Because if it's not, then why do you even give it the time of day? So you get what I'm saying? I'm worried about people not investing their time correctly. Time is an investment. Energy is an investment. You only have so much. When you sit on your phone, you're wasting your time because, like, yeah, you can learn something, but if you don't act on it and it just sits in the back of your memory base, then what was the real value to the information? You didn't act on it. It just sits within you. Maybe one day it's going to become valuable. Yeah, obviously it's good. We don't act on all the information we get in one day. That's not how life works, obviously. But it's like physical goals, mental goals, financial goals, spiritual goals, contributing to the collective goals, being with nature goals. These are all things you can do right now. Healing your family, building your family stronger, finding the person that's right for you, nurturing that relationship, finding a friend group that you can grow within, build within. Those are things that you should be thinking about that would enrich your life. Imagine you had that. Imagine you did that. How would you feel? You would feel so overjoyed. You'd be overflowing with emotion. You wouldn't be able to control yourself if you did those things. So why don't you want that? Why don't you do things that show you want that? That's what I'm trying to say. So that's the end of this episode of the Love and Success Are Married podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I really recommend you watching the previous episode. In that episode, we talked about other topics, such as, is love possible in today's society? The value of your starting point, nature versus nurture. We talked about the future leaders of Gen Z and what skills they're going to have, how Gen Z is going to gain positions of power, the new valuable skills in today's market. And we talked about the ghosting and lurking and observing Gen Z culture. So if you like this episode, I really recommend you watch the previous episode. And secondly, if you really like the podcast and you want more depth and you don't want to just keep listening and you want to save this episode because you're like, oh, I watched enough YouTube for today, so now I want to do something else, then I recommend you reading my book, Love and Success Are Married. It's the book that teaches you how to get love and success in today's modern era. It's a book about human nature and observing the certain stages that you're going to go through as you progress to your highest self-image, to your highest potential, to complete your life, to lead to a fulfilled life. This is not some book about, there's not a vain book. You're not going to find something superficial in the book. It's only going to be as deep as you are because I wrote it in that way. It starts, everyone can join in, and it ends at the deepest points. So I don't think there's any piece of art more interesting or better or more practical or more exciting that you could read or you could consume right now. It is the best use of your time if you're trying to consume anything right now. So I really recommend you reading it. Like, I don't want you to miss out on this opportunity because I'm telling you, art that is practical is rare, but that was the whole point of art in the first place. It was to give you a place that you can see beauty and truth in the same place. You can see, oh yeah, this is the truth of how to get love and success, but there's beauty in it because it's written artistically, it's written artfully. And that's like the beauty of it. And that creates the most wonderful experience you can have. And I created that experience for you to have. You see people going on vacations, this is even better because this is a vacation in your internal world, a place most people don't ever visit. So go and read Love and Success Are Married. You can check it right now. You can check it out right now in the description. See you next time.